We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hello, this is Tika Lark Fleming with MPC brings you the Black Girl Show. We have an exciting show today, February 28th. I never know what date it is. I don't know what that's about, but I'll get better with that. But before we have our great guest, I'm going to read the Breaking the Table. And today's Breaking the Table is called Feminism is for You. You know, many people like to point to the faults of an individual woman and go, see, there you go. Feminism isn't for you. Feminism is for you. Feminism is simply the radical idea that women are people. There are going to be people who share that message who are going to be racist, homophobic, ageist, sizist, nationalist, imperialist. Some women have tunnel vision when it comes to who is a woman. Not my job. It is not my job to educate racists. I am not your social justice mammy. There are people who get it, people who want to get it, and people who don't want to get it. If you're over 35 and you're asking me stupid questions, you don't want to get it. Sisters, are you not beyond being asked to be granted for your humanity? You should be, and it's unnecessary because we're already human. I was born in a black community. I was raised in a black community. I live in a black community. It's 80% African American, 90305. Look it up. I respond to classism. I respond to the system of oppression. Racism is real. I'm just not going to be fighting racism on my knees and begging to be called pretty too. I don't find that entertaining, which is why I live in Inglewood, in the part of Los Angeles we black people call South Central. You know who my feminism is for? It's for women who ride the bus. It's for women who are called whores and the B word in music videos. For women who clean the house. For women who wake up at 3 a.m. to take the bus so that they can get their child to childcare and take care of someone else's child. For the women who are sex workers. My feminism isn't based on a white woman touching my hair because I live around black people, and that doesn't happen to me. My feminism is getting justice for my economically oppressed black sisters. I'm inclusive of everyone, but I know black women in LA who are poor are never viewed with any empathy. Black women never get the courtesy of being given the benefit of a doubt. We have attitude problems. That's what many people say. We're often put in situations where we make, as society calls, bad decisions. There are no bad choices. There are no bad decisions. There are things you do to continue to eat and live in this place. More black women are sex trafficked in LA County than any other ethnic group. But they don't call it sex trafficking when it happens to us. They call us hookers. But people who are walking up Long Beach Boulevard and Century Boulevard are being trafficked. Black women aren't fundable. African American and Native American women are the smallest visible ethnic group in LA County, and we don't count. I'm a feminist, and I'm going to continue to be a feminist because regardless of what the wealthy say about the welfare moms, some hip-hop star says about needing to take 30 showers, or a wealthy actress forgetting to include you, you count. Feminism is for you, sisters, because you do count. And that was Breaking the Table. We're going to go on our little bit of a break, and we'll be back with Anna Thorne from Mount St. Mary's College. All right, we are back with MPC presents the Black Girl Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. on LA Talk Live. Right now, we're going to speak to Dr. Anna Thorne. I always want to call her. I don't know why I want to call you the wrong name. I'm sorry. Dr. Anna Thorne received her PhD from Claremont Graduate University in Claremont, California in 2012. She is an alum of Mount St. Mary's University. I keep calling it Mount St. Mary's College because when I went there, it was a college, but now it's a university. That just happened. It was an article in the LA Times. She got her BA in English and MA in Humanities at Mount St. Mary's weekend program, and she joined Mount St. Mary's faculty right after graduation. So welcome to the Black Girl Show,
Thank you,
Dr. Thorne.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
But before I go into the question and asking you questions about Mount St. Mary's MFA program and the LA Writers Conference, I'd like to ask a little fun question.
Okay.
What is your favorite candy?
Tootsie Rolls.
Tootsie Rolls, and you were like right on it. Okay, all right. Good. It's good to know that. Okay, good to know. I want to get a favor from Dr. Thorne. That's what I should do. So you kind of have had an unusual journey to Mount St. Mary's and to college and to all this. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. My journey really is not that different. I think a lot of people have been on this journey, especially as you point out, Black women. Lack of support when you were younger. Maybe you were thrust into a parental role, a surrogate parent, because one of your parents is there. As in my case, the oldest girl usually takes over the family, right? So my mom had to leave, and my dad ended up raising 3 of us. So he was sort of my role model, so that made me, I think, a little more assertive, in life. However, my dad was pretty much of a chauvinist, so he wanted to make sure we were ladies and we knew, the proper domestic duties and responsibilities that we were supposed to take on. So that's kind of a tough road to travel, foot in both worlds. I don't know if you're familiar with, well, I'm sure you're familiar with the shifting roles of Black women. We have to play several roles even during one day. Mother, wife, employee, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go on to the job, who gets asked all the questions? The Black woman does, right? She has all the answers. She has the wisdom, right? right. Exactly. So I started out, I got married pretty young, and I had a son. When my husband, I married him, he was in med school. So I thought I was marrying a doctor. Isn't that what every mother tells her daughter, right? Hey, you better marry a doctor, right? So that was my goal. But then the revolution comes, Black Power and Nikki Giovanni and that group, Leroy Jones, Black Arts Movement, Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, and my husband went over to that side, and he forgot all about medical school. So I said, that's not exactly what I signed up for. I'm all for Black Power, but not at my expense, right, or the expense of our family. So I took my son and I raised him, and we sort of traveled a little bit. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. We lived in Seattle, in the Bay Area, New York, the Caribbean, and finally LA. I came here to visit my mom, who was living here, and she says, my mother is Mexican. She says, "Oh, Nita, why after all this time you come to visit me?" I said, "Mother, you know what? I didn't have anywhere else to go. I've just run out of places now." Right? So I planted myself here, right? And my goal, actually, I had a real specific thing in mind in coming here, which was to re-raise myself in the manner in which I had been, would have liked to have been raised, okay? And I did that, and as a result, at the end of that sort of emotional part of that journey, I went back to school, and I had already just had 1 year of college. I went to Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina, Black girls' school for 1 year, and I found the weekend program at Mount St. Mary's, and it was just ideal for me because I was a working mother and a working woman. And when I got back to school, I remembered how much I really liked it. I love school, right? And I always wanted to be a teacher or something, right? So when I started, I just kept on the journey, and it took me 10 years to get from a freshman, so to speak, to a PhD. And
that's actually quick, right?
Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's right. That's right. And actually, I ended up with 4 degrees: a BA in English, a master's in humanities, an MFA in creative writing from Antioch University, and then the PhD from Claremont. Right.
Okay.
But I believe, as an older woman with a corporate experience and a lot of work experience in back of me, and I had been a proposal writer for Easter Seals, Southern California, for many years. As a matter of fact, I did that the whole time I was in school. So I was, I think I was little bit prepared to take on that challenge. And actually, it took a lot of time, it took a lot of energy and dedication, but it wasn't as difficult as I had thought it would be. And I can tell you that the best moment of my life was when I was the student commencement speaker at Claremont for our graduation. And I raised my hands up in the air when they said Dr. Anna Thorne, I mean, I'm telling you, that was better than getting married, having a child, or anything else in the world for me, at that moment, right? It meant a lot to me. So there's my journey, and Mount St. Mary's asked me to substitute for someone who couldn't do a class at the last minute the summer after I graduated, and I've been teaching there ever since. And last year, they had an opening for the director of the creative writing program, so they put me in the slot as the acting director because the person left abruptly, and I stepped in. And now they're starting to interview for the director position, and I, of course, have applied for that. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I'm trying.
Well, let's talk about it. They have a MFA in creative writing at Mount St. Mary's now.
That's right. It's a brand new program. It just officially started this past fall, September of 2014.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, especially with the history of Mount St. Mary's, and the MFA program is co-ed, correct?
Yes, right.
It's co-ed. Right. It's co-ed, but I mean, with the tradition that Mount St. Mary's had, just because of that base, and with women, especially with women of color, I mean, it's actually Mount St. Mary's actually looks like Los Angeles.
Yes,
which
it does.
is
that's right.
Yeah, and it's not like a forced kind of thing. It's just a natural kind of. So I'm actually very excited about the MFA program. I mean, what concentrations do you guys have?
It's a cross-genre program because of the weekend format. Not geared to really just focus in on one genre. So we teach fiction, we teach creative nonfiction, we have poetry, we have screenwriting, television writing, and we're adding young adult. I'm starting off the first one-unit class in young adult lit this summer, and I want to get a little more into LGBT writing as we go along. I'm still, because I'm the acting director, I've been able to do a few things, but I'm still molding and still having ideas and taking my vision forward. But as you know, in college, they're planning, semesters ahead, so you have to get ahead of the game before you can really affect any change. But slowly but surely, things are happening.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm saying like a women's studies / MFA creative writing program in the future. No, I'm making up stuff.
That's on the list, Tika.
Okay, good. So I'm like thinking about that.
That's right.
So I mean, there's a writers conference going on. It's going on March 14th, and let's put the little. I have my little sign that says.
Okay.
It says the 2015 LA Writers Conference, Imagination, the Fiction Writer's Life, March 14th, 2015, and I see Nikki Giovanni there. So and I see Margaret Stoll, but I mean, how this come about, this writers conference?
That's an interesting thing because the proposal for the program to be established, one of the charges was to have a writers conference every year. Okay. So when I came in as the acting director, I said, what can I do to put us on the map, so to speak? And I said, well, I'll tackle this writers conference and see what I can come up with. So we made an announcement that the program was new and coming up, and some ladies from the Women's National Book Association, the LA chapter. They're a national organization. They've been around since the early 1900s, established in New York, where some ladies tried to get into a booksellers convention and they weren't allowed. So they started their own organization. So this was the result of that, right? So they actually contacted my PR people and the university's PR people, and they put them in touch with me. We started meeting, and I said, let's do a conference together. We can have it here on the campus, They have the contacts with literary agents and publishers and various other writers and authors that I would not necessarily have access to, right? But from my vision was to go to the community, engage with organizations such as yours, Black Girl Book Fair, the Lamert Park Book Fair, and Women Who Submit with Xochitl Bermejo that you know also, right? So I'm connected with all these people and involved them in the conferences. I have some of them in the workshops, and as you know, we're cross-promoing with you. We're going to appear at your book fair on March the 7th, right?
We were talking about you.
I'm just saying I'm using that as an example of a community engagement. Really,
yeah.
There's two ways to build things: from the top down or from the bottom up, right? But if you approach it from both ways, you meet somewhere in the middle, and you are assured of more success. So that's sort of the way that I like to do things. But I don't always have access to the top, so I have to align myself with those who do. And I think the Women's National Book Association has done a great job in what they've contributed to the conference. And I brought Nikki Giovanni in. Nikki happens to be sort of a friend of mine. She's a little bit older than I am, but we grew up in the same little neighborhood right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. Nikki used to work in the Walgreens pharmacy that my stepfather used to manage when she was at University of Cincinnati. And we also have a mutual friend in a woman named Sister Althea, who was like the first black nun that either of us ever saw, an Episcopalian nun, and she taught us in elementary school. And she died last year, but Nikki and I are sort of connected through knowing her also. Right?
But I mean, this writers' conference is different in a lot of ways because you guys are going to have agents there.
Yes. Well, I thought that was a plus because when I questioned the ladies about, what draws people to their conference, what do they do? And I said, wow, that's great because you do actually have agents there and people are able to talk to them. We have a session called the Boot Camp Pitch Session, which happens in the morning where we have 30 people, 30 slots for the boot camp, and they talk to someone. Ruth Klein is the leader of that, and she tells them how to pitch their book, right? What's the best thing to do? And then later on in the conference, they have a 5-minute appointment with an actual agent to do the pitch and to get feedback on it, right? And the ladies have had some success with them this in the past. A few people have been able to publish through participating in this boot camp experience.
Because this is what writers want. They want access. They want to get published.
That's right.
And I think a lot of times with a lot of these conferences, people talk about some different things, but just getting an agent is very challenging.
Yes.
In Los Angeles.
That's
I
right.
mean, I remember I tried to get an agent once. They're like, you know what? You do poetry? What? Poets don't have agents. I'm like, well, I'm different. Everybody thinks they're different.
Right.
So I mean, I think that's something that's really great. I mean, and also too, I mean, you're reaching out to different communities, and I think that was one thing that the reason why I wanted to have you here on the show is because you did, when I was doing the Black Girl Book Fair, you were very kind of like, oh yeah. I mean, I didn't really get that. I mean, I didn't get that response from everybody. I mean, I didn't have to really work with you very hard. I just had to be like, yeah. You were like, okay, call me on the phone, and you were just but I mean, because especially women of color, Latino, African American, Indigenous women, when we're trying to have literary events, we're trying to have art events, people don't take our events seriously. They don't take it seriously. I got a lot of things, programs for people who were, I guess, remedial programs, or remedial literacy. They didn't understand. I'm like, well, if we are having a book fair about books, why? I'm thinking people could read already.
Right.
No, but I mean, you don't understand like how important it is to have a person such as yourself. I'm a Black Latina, like in the system, who is supportive of us and kind of view us as being able to write and be creative, and I mean, I guess that's important. That's important to you, but I mean, I hope that you can. I know you see that, but it's I mean, what are your kind of like your hopes for this conference?
Well, I can't say that I'm not without vision because I always have a plan for myself, right, about what I want to do, but I try to expand that plan so that it does include others and organizations such as yourselves, right, who, as you say, don't get the attention that they deserve, right? So by being on the campus and being part of the university's mission is diversity, okay? And as you say, we do already reflect the Los Angeles population. We are a Latino designated institution. That means we have over 50% of our students are Latino or Latina, and we do service that community well, okay? And we want to stretch it out just a little bit. Myself, that's my vision, right? To include more African American women and men also. We are known as a woman's school, but we do take men, they're enrolled there, right? I'm also an instructor there, so when a guy's in the class, we say, "Uh-oh, you better watch out." You may hear some things you don't want to hear.
Yes, yes,
that's right. But to for me, as you say, a Black Latino, what I call a Blaxican, I am aware of the struggle of, you know, people of color. I grew up with, my dad is all African American, so we grew up in African American community. I don't really know anything about being Latino until I came to LA in the 1980s. But I don't speak very much Spanish, but I look that way. So people will speak Spanish to me, and I really try, but sometimes I don't always make it right. But I would have to say that culturally, I consider myself a black woman. So that is really where my sympathies lie. And organizations like yours and like Zoshi's, the Women Who Submit, and the Leimert Park Book Fair, those are things that I want to be connected to in the college, because really I think that for writers of color, our vision, our mission should be to try and affect and impact the master narrative. And the way we do that is we have to some way get into where that master narrative lives, right? So that we can try and impact it. So this is what do you call, slippery slope, right, to be on. However, if you get on the seesaw, you know, you can maintain your balance if you really work at it. Sometimes you might slide one way or another, but this is definitely my vision, is to open up the campus more to more community organizations, especially those that are run by black women like you. And also, I guess that's like you're talking about the slippery slope. It's kind of like once you get into the system, how do you remember, because, you know, this whole idea of being published and being marketable, and you're kind of like, well, I want to be able to appeal to everybody. But I think the thing is that, you know, the world is a diverse place. The world is, you know, there's African Americans, Latinos, there's Filipinas, there's everybody. And so when you have the story and it's only one narrative, and everybody's, even people of color are writing towards this one narrative, you really narrow history, you narrow possibilities, and you kind of, the story becomes, I don't know, the story doesn't seem as entertaining because it's the same story over and over again from the same perspective. That's correct. And
I mean, even for political reasons, I always said that, you know, you can kill like ideas and revolutions and systems if you kill art, because creativity, whether it's just, if you're just writing a story, like say you're a horror writer or even a children's book writer or something like that, people think, well, that's not really political. I'm like, you know, if you can show children, adults, young adults, people from all backgrounds, creativity is all that you need. You can think beyond the box. That's how revolutions are built. That's how the system changes, because of creativity. It doesn't change like the utilitarian kind of like idea, you get up, you go home, and because that's not, you know, logical. To be, you know, being a writer maybe isn't logical, but that's what it takes to change the system. I mean, is that why you decided to be a writer yourself? I mean, I know that, you know, you have your MFA, so you are a writer,
right?
And so I mean, how did you get on that path?
Well, you know, it's just like you say. There's these burning stories that you have in there, as Toni Morrison says. If you're not finding the story that you want to read, then you must write it. Because our stories have been excluded from the master narrative. They're outside the circle, right? We're operating the margins, so we want to get closer into the circle, and this is one way to do it, right? The challenge is to be true to yourself, but then still be able to make this a broad appeal to audiences. But as you say, there are growing audiences, right? Different ones. And so if you find your literary niche, then you have it made, right? Yeah, because young adult, they have theirs. What he calls fantasy graphic novels is another area. We have a great guy for that, Brandon Easton. He's on one of the workshops.
Oh,
you know
okay,
him,
yeah,
right?
I do, yeah.
He's just been blowing up lately, right? I think he just got a full-time job. I can't say the station. I don't know what it is, but anyway. So the things are happening. Things are changing, right? And it's up to us to try and impact that narrative, because all art is political. Even a cartoon, even a commercial is a political statement. If you know how to read it, if you know what you're looking at, and that is what we really have to do. We have to learn how to read the media, whatever form it may take. A magazine article, a newspaper article, a television show, a sitcom, a rom-com, whatever you want to call it. You have to know how to read it. You must know what you're looking at. And I believe that's where education comes in, because that's where you can learn that in media studies, especially under the umbrella of cultural studies, which is what I would like to promote, because that is a transdisciplinary field. History, literature, and cultural.
And even I mean, I love the fact that they have Mountain Bears. Doesn't they have they don't have a social justice film?
Yes, in the undergrad, and right at the other campus up at Chelan, the one you graduated from. Right, There's a social justice film and media program. Right, exactly.
I just thought that was I was like wonderful. I'm like, wow, that I missed that.
Yes,
you know, I was like, so you can see that's the thing about Mount St. Mary's now. People are going to start getting dated because you're like, well, if you call it the college, it's like you're clearly over a certain age.
That's right.
So I'm to remember, so I keep my whole lie straight in regards to my age. I'm like, oh yeah, I call it university now. I mean, and I think one thing that I have to applaud for you is because there are people of color who are in positions of power, but not necessarily will they use that to kind of reach out to the community. It's kind of like, this is how I did. Not everybody, but I'm just saying it's so few and far between. When you meet somebody who's like, oh wow, and you start telling everybody, oh, this person's cool, but now you're gonna be afraid. Everybody's gonna be calling you now. I mean, like,
that's good. I want them to call me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so huge, especially in Los Angeles, because everybody is so kind of afraid. Like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because especially with little small community like Oregon. I mean, that's kind of like why I have this show, to kind of showcase the people who maybe aren't in the mainstream, even though Mount St. Mary's University you guys got like written up in the LA Times and everything. I was like, you guys are getting press and everything now.
We're going to get it again when Nikki comes to town too.
Yeah. I mean, these are great things.
You make a good point though. If you are in a position where you can affect some change, what's your motivation? Do you do that, just as an individual, only thinking of yourself and your own gain, which is, I'm not going to brag anybody for that. But as they say, the sister's working, right? You're making money, you can support yourself, right? But you must reach out. You must bring people in, because if not, then you're guilty of the same thing that you claim that you're against, which is exclusivity. We must be inclusive. We must bring people along. We must bring people into the circle. Someone brought me into the circle, so I will bring someone too, right? And the only way, like through writing, as you say, art is political, but through writing, people's thinking changes, and when your thinking changes, then your behavior changes, and then real social change can be affected, right? As you say, not through Marxism or communism or even democracy or anything else, right? People have to change their minds, then they change their behavior, and then the whole thing changes. The whole paradigm would change, right?
So if people wanted to go to can people still sign up for the Writers Conference?
Absolutely. The website is lawritersconference.org. Students, $25 for the whole day of the conference, and to see Miss Giovanni's keynote. So that's a pretty good price for students, and others, there's not too high, but there are still seats available, and I think we have about 5 more slots left in the boot camp session also that can be filled.
Yeah. Right. I need to be on that boot camp.
That's right. You better go in there and sign up. It's only $25 too, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
And in regards to the MFA in writing program, I mean, are the deadlines? I mean, is it a rolling deadline? Like, what are the?
Yes, it's a rolling enrollment. Right now, I think I have 4 students in my queue. 1 of them is for summer, and 3 of them are for fall, right? But there's always someone there in the program. We started off small because we just started, only 10 students from the beginning. Second semester, we got 6 more, 16. So it looks like we have 6 more coming for summer, and then I don't think I'm finished for fall. We'll have a few more. But I'm hoping that this conference will give us the publicity that we need, put us in the public eye, let people know that we are definitely here. And I plan to have a couple of small events also during the year with the Women's National Book Association, so that we can keep that brand for the LA Writers Conference and sort of keep that alive, so that next year we don't have to start all over again like we did this year, right? This is our first time out. But I think we're doing a pretty good job, and I know that the university is pleased. They want this kind of activity. They want to open up the campus. They want want people to know who we are and where we are, because they've been, you know, sort of, they call themselves a hidden gem, right? Right. And they have been hidden. So now let's make that gem available to everybody. Right?
No, exactly. I mean, it's a supportive campus.
Yes.
I always tell people, I'm like, you know, if you have, well, I always say young women, but I guess it's now that it's kind of opened up, the school's kind of opened up. I'm like that. I would suggest that school to anybody, especially as an undergrad. I would suggest that school to anybody. I mean, it's a supportive campus.
Yes.
I mean, if I graduate, anybody. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's a competitive campus, but I'm just saying it is supportive. I mean, there's a lot of things that I, you know, as a more kind of a radical person, there are a lot of things that I, you know, would not put up with. I went to UC Riverside initially, and I had some protests, and I had to leave. I had to shut the campus down. I have to say, when I was at Mount St. Mary's, I didn't have one protest, which was, I felt not on the campus. Right. I mean, I felt no need to. You know how you're there and you're on campus and you're in college and you feel like an outsider, or you feel like I need to assert who I am. When I was there, I was just going to class. I wasn't even thinking, like, you know, there was none of that. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, but, you know, they calmed me down for a second. So, I mean, that's, you know, any of you have any Wild Child Catholic school girls, that might be a school that you might want to send your kid to.
So do you think that this supportive environment is because it's mostly all women?
Yeah.
Mostly women, right? Well, I believe so, too, because I remember when I finished 8th grade, I used to graduate from 8th grade when I was in 8th grade. And I wanted to go to Mount Notre Dame, which was the Catholic girls' school. I wanted to wear the blue skirt and the white blouse and the saddle Oxfords. But my dad wouldn't let me. He made me go to public school. He regrets it, okay? But the reason that I wanted to go to the all-women's schools, because I felt I would get the best education there. And that way I would be better prepared as, you know, as an adult and for my life going forward. But as a result of just my eighth years in a Catholic elementary school, when I got into public school, I was way ahead of most of the students who had come from public schools, right? So I think there is a certain advantage in a parochial education, especially if you want a foundation. And of course, you can become more radical as you like after that, right? Yeah. You know, I tell my students, you can do the wrong thing grammatically speaking, or with the punctuation in your paper or whatever it is, but only if you know what the right thing is. If you know the rule, then you can break it. But you can't break the rule without knowing what the rule is.
That's very
and
true.
You learn the rules in school, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah,
you learn the paradigms, you learn the models, and then you are free to do whatever you want to with them. Stretch them, contract them, throw them out. Only use what suits you. Right. That
is very, very true, Dr. Thorne.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say in closing?
Well, I would just like to say that I hope that writers out there, especially our young writers, our young women of color and men of color also, would come out to the conference and lend their support, and also come out to see Miss Giovanni. As you know, she's a distinguished professor at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. So she's coming a long way here to see us, right? And I want to honor her, and want her to know that we love her here in LA, and that the trip was worth it. Okay, so as much support as people can get, come on out. If you just want to see Nikki, her event starts at 4:00 on the 14th, and you can see her for just $50. Okay. But if you want to come to the conference, just go online and sign up for whatever things on the menu that appeal to you.
Okay. Well, that's great, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, Tika. It was my delight. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was great. So that was all, and I will put all the information on how to join, how to sign up for the LA Writers Conference below. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to MPC Presents the Black Girl Show. Up next, we're going to have Mujeres de Maiz, Women of the Corn, and we'll be talking about their great festival that's going on March 8th. So that was MPC Chronicle Presents the Black Girl Show. You can catch us every Saturday at 3 p.m. on LA Talk Live and Radio Live 365 and Ustream. So we'll talk to you in a bit. You on your toes, that's just how it goes. You can deal with the lows, just keep dodging the blows. So I'ma do me, who else do I be? 'Cause I create my own destiny. I'ma take that.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hey y'all, I'm Shaquem Williams, and I'm the host of The Shock Factor here on LA Talk Live. We broadcast to the world every Friday at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Live music, live performances. We're just live. Chef Momo, Erica Ash, and once again, your host, Shaquem Williams. So come join every Friday here at LA Talk Live, the world-leading broadcasting internet radio station. The Shock.
This is Brett Chapin.
And this is Dorothy Dillingham Blue, inviting you to join us every Saturday at noon Pacific Standard Time for our show, La La Land Talk.
Join us as we talk with some of the top talent in LA. Artists' untold stories, your phone calls, and live on-location broadcasts have made La La Land one of the best sources in LA for everything entertainment.
So don't forget to tune in to La La Land Talk.
Exclusively on latalklive.com.
You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com.
Saturdays at noon Pacific Time. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk, Twitter, twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live.
And we are more than just talk.
Hello, I'm Joel Ramirez.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on latalklive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello, this is Tika Lark Fleming, and this is MPC presents the Black Girl Show. We are actually, I want to go over a calendar. I want to remind you guys on March 8th they're gonna have Mujeres de Maiz. But actually, we're not going to talk to them today, and we're going to have the downtown LA march with Firm. And today, around 4 o'clock, AMP, the Mark Bradford art studio, will be opening up, and it's going to be pretty awesome. It's in Lamert Park, around between 4 and 6. So make sure you go out and support that. But right now, I'm going to read about Mujeres de Maiz. Mujeres de Maiz was founded in 1997. Was a grassroots multimedia women's activist organization based in East Los Angeles, California. Mujeres de Maiz utilizes community partnerships, mainly those developed with local artists, performers, educators, and organizers in the creation and implementation of their programming. Their partnerships are primarily with Chicana Latina college graduates between the ages of 25 and 65 and are involved in cultural, artistic, and educational tapestry of the greater Los Angeles area. So that's a little bit about your organization. But, hello, Cynthia and Lily.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
I'm so happy to have you guys here because you guys have been around for a very long time. Yes.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Do you guys want to tell me a little bit about your organization other than what I read?
Well, we're focused in a big, diverse group of women. It's not only women; it's also youth.
Okay.
We try to assist, or at least help guide also youth. We have a youth conference that we try to do in a yearly basis as well. So it's not just college graduates or Chicana activists. We also are trying to help the upcoming youth that might be wanting to learn more about their culture or about just the world out there, you know.
And you have to have a art festival that's been going on for 18 years.
Yes, we also have a zine also that we've been in publication for what year are we at? Like almost 20 years?
18
years. It seems like 20 years. Yeah, we've had a zine out. We started with a little black and white zine, and now it's full color, and we have women from around the world that actually contribute to the zine, from South America, Latin America, also in Jordan, and I believe Africa as well. And so this collective is not just a Chicana based collective. We started as we are a women of color organization, and we started it with that in mind, and we actually started not only in mind, but actually it does involve women of color specifically. Unfortunately, like the majority of the organizers are Chicanas or of Latin American descent, but our base is women of color, specifically to target the that group or us, you know, to mentor these young women into knowing who we are as a people.
And you know what? You can move that microphone. You can move it if you want to. You can actually move it forward.
Okay. Like
it actually moves. Yeah. No. I don't want you to hurt your neck.
I'm like,
no, but I think it's really great because you guys call yourselves artivists.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a mixture of artist and activist. And I mean, how do you guys view art and politics? I mean, is it the same thing? Is it different? Can it be different? I mean, can you have art without politics? Can you have politics without art?
You can't really have art without some sort of politics. People have to, you know, the way that they create art is their own personal belief system, their politics, their, you know, it's an expression of who they are. And if that person in their core is political, if that person is even just acknowledging who they are as a people, as a culture, as anything, that in itself is culture, is being political. So, yeah, you can't really have it unless you want to, you know, be some sort of artist that has really no thoughts or really understanding of the world. I
mean, what about you, Lily?
Oh, well,
you don't get to ignore that question.
Well, I'm being that this is what I do. I'm a painter, muralist, artivist, and so definitely art does have its own politics, whether it's internal or internalized by the creator of that art piece or the artist. People call it the artist, but I call it creators, because that's what we are. They might not share that piece with the world, because there's creators that keep their pieces and never take it out. You know, they hoard that piece.
Like me.
Yeah. And they don't share that. That again becomes a political act. And just like claiming our bodies is a political act, and creating something is a political act. So yes, to me, art is a political act.
Okay. And what does Women of the Corn, what does that stand for? Mujeres de Maiz. What does that stand for? I mean, what does that mean?
I'll answer that a little bit. So Mujeres de Maiz, actually, when we the name, actually, I ended up coming up with the name in a circle when we did that at the CSO building in 97. We were sitting around in 97, young women trying to figure it out. I'm 43, so that was like in my early 20s, and so they're like, everybody's like sitting around like, what should we name ourselves? You know, we gotta name ourselves. And I'm like, how about Mujeres de Maiz, women of the corn? Because native indigenous women or the native peoples of the Americas, corn is very essential to our cosmology, to our culture, without corn, the Pilgrims would have never survived. And corn has its own creation story for people of color on this continent. And because corn, and we thought about it because we also had black women, Asian women, so we thought, oh well, corn is good because one, we're in the Americas right now. Two, corn comes in all kinds of colors. Comes in all those colors. So we decided to, as a collective, to keep that name. So that's how the name came about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's something that's important, like how you come up with a name and like what was the reasoning kind of behind that. But I know that you guys have music and art in this festival that's going on March 8th. And where's that festival being held at?
Legacy LA.
Okay.
And that's in 1350 San Pablo Street, Los Angeles, and area code 90033.
So that's in Boyle Heights.
It's by General Hospital.
It's by General Hospital.
Okay.
It's behind General Hospital.
Okay. I mean, and is it important that it's in that section in East Los Angeles? Is that an important why it's there? I mean, 'cause especially now with all of the economic, gentrification that's actually happening there. People are kind of looking at that neighborhood, your neighborhood, as kind of like, oh well, this is there, as if no one's already there. Like, oh well, this is like, we're just gonna take it because there's no one's doing anything there. And I mean, it's kind of like this kind of like perspective. I think that they kind of even though this festival's been going on for 18 years, where people are kind of acting like, oh well, this new group of people from, I don't know, Cal Arts, I don't know, oh look, they've discovered this, like as. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've been facing that rediscoverization by, like we keep getting discovered apparently,
like we call it Columbusing.
Yeah.
They keep Columbusing us, right?
That's
another term that they, But yeah, this space, we actually, we're always looking for new space. So it just happens to have been available in Boyle Heights, next to US, but USC is actually USC doesn't own it, but I think the city parks do or something.
Okay.
So we had to just try to find means of. We're always looking for spaces, and I think really even the geographical location at this point for us doesn't really matter. It just happened to have been in Boyle Heights, and all the other ones happened to have been in Boyle Heights. But if you know of any other spots for the next year or for any other events that we could host and facilitate anyone out there, we're always open to have spots or places or spaces that we could actually do our events or host events that we do, not only for that one day but through a whole months series.
I know. I mean, I think that's really important to say that how in both of our respective communities, how we were already there, and they're kind of people are acting as if we were not we were not in our community. It's kind of like in Inglewood, they're kind of like, oh look, they have new art, we have art here, as if pretty much every single African American artist that does public art in Los Angeles is from Inglewood. How dare you act as if no one was doing art there, when everybody, pretty much, like I said, almost every single African American artist in Los Angeles that's had a public art grant is from Inglewood, but they're acting as if just because someone white does it, it becomes, oh, that's real, as if we're not real.
We're non-existent most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've experienced that too, is that when I had a gallery in Boyle Heights, and of course it's been gentrified, I had someone come in, need I say, an explorer came in. I call it an explorer came in to discover us, to discover that there was a gallery in the hood, and that we actually had books. She actually said, this is what she said, oh, you guys read? Oh, I'm like, no, she didn't. And I was like, yeah, we read. And I was so insulted.
No. I know, because because I'm doing my little book fair, and I'm going to people, and they're like, would you guys like a literacy truck? It's a book fair. We can already read. Then someone asked, "Can we have a thing? Can we?" They probably came up to you too. Did they ask the people who swab your cheeks to get information? Did they come up to you guys?
No.
No, they came to us. They wanted to have a little truck set up where they would swab people's cheeks so they could get like, I guess, to see if they could be donors. I was like,
That sounds kind of fishy to me. That sounds kind of like, the Genome Project where they're trying to collect your DNA and patent it. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't know about people of color and the whole health industry trying to help you.
Yeah,
you have your gallery in Boyle Heights, and then it's kind of like, you know, in regards to like even press and being written about and all this stuff, and then someone will have something and it's like they'll have it like, you know, they'll be like the first year and it's like all of a sudden it's like, what happened to you guys? Like, whoa, we were here. Why isn't our event viewed as important?
Yeah. Well, it's not. It survives. It's actually survived because of people like yourself, or people like us that believe in the betterment of our communities, of ourselves, of our families, and because we've been so marginalized. I don't even like to use that word, but you know, we've been so like ignored, and obviously historically, and right now in current politics, you know, it's unfortunate that we're in that situation. That's why people like yourself, like us, is very important, like this radio station, to help us sustain ourselves, so we become our own networks. We become our own support system, and that's how it's been historically and politically for our survival. It's true. I mean, and I think the thing is so great about this organization is that, you know, they have like this great calendar and kind of like including and like supporting all the events that are going on during the months the month of March. I'm like, why am I saying May? The month of March, and all these different women organizations. I've seen you guys. I've seen a firm, because I had a firm on here. And I've seen you guys. And I've seen everybody at different events, like supporting each other. And it's kind of strange because it almost seems as if no one outside of like the Black and brown community seems like they don't even know that this is all going on. You know, and I mean, look at all of these. Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah, all of these events that are on here, that are going on the month of March, and it's just like, you know, I mean, I just feel like, you know, it's your organization is so important just because how long it's been around and how you guys are, you know, being very supportive and you're being very inclusive and having. I mean, you know, do you want to give us some of the performers that are going to be there?
Read them off.
We don't have the.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Dalo, Entre Mujeres, Get Lit Poets, Camille Spirulin, and Tashi Brown, Las Ramonas, Maya Chinchilla, Mujer en Resistencia, Teatro Tres Generaciones, y más, and more. But one thing too that we need to share also is that we're not only focusing on Women's Month anymore. We are expanding, and we're also doing now more programming for April, May, and we're trying to do a fall calendar as well. So we're trying to, you know, expand our programming so we're able to have activities happening throughout the year now. So we're able to you know, give as much you know, opportunities for people to learn, to experience out there.
And one thing I think is really important is that our organizations are known, because one issue that I think that just burns me is when I'll see people coming in from different organizations, like, let's see, MOCA or something like that. They'll come in and they'll go, oh, we're going to do like Latina programming. We're going to do African American programming. So then the grant that really was supposed to be made for organizations such as this, that's been around for 20 years, all that funding goes to some kind of coloring program. You know, so you go in MOCA, you see like, you know, like, you know, coloring. They're just sitting around coloring, and they're like, oh, see, this is our programming for people of color. And then we get completely shut out. But we need to, like, you know, say something about that, because that's important, you know.
I think we're moving towards becoming a nonprofit as well. So we're trying to maybe start trying to get some funding from that as well, to, you know, really support our group as well, and be able to offer more programming, more you know, things that we could offer the public.
Well, taking the systems, a lot of times people who are kind of more radical are like, oh, we don't want to become a nonprofit because we don't want to be part of that. Well, you know what? It can be political because I feel like this, if that's your money. Because a lot of this money in regards to these grants and stuff, these are tax dollars that were supposed to be going to everybody, but instead they got to take it and send it for tax breaks. So that's your money. That's your money, and we should take our money back.
I'm glad for that.
I mean, to me, it could be a political act depending on how you are going about doing it. And if anybody gets any funding for anything in regards to anything that's going on in East Los Angeles, Mujeres de Maiz should be getting that funding. And I think that if you guys are not getting that funding, you need to have a protest or something and start, marching around. I don't know what you need to do. I'm not the one to tell you what to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll write about it if you do it.
Yeah. There you go.
But, what's your hope for? What's your hope for your community and for your organization in the future, especially when we're having all of this gentrification going on, this erasure going on, this attempt to rewrite history yet again? What's your hopes and your dreams and what are your plans?
Well, for me, in the personal level, the way that I look at my community is that, you have to look at your history, 7 generations behind you, and you always have to look forward 7 generations ahead of you. So the kind of work that I do, and also we do here in Mujeres de Maiz, is that we try to empower the youth, empower the women, empower the people, so then they could gain that strength to be able to really continue and really look ahead 7 generations ahead of us as well. So how about you?
So for what I see for our collective group, well, we've been at it for such a long time that I think it evolves and it's changed so much, depending on what's actually happening. That's usually how we've kind of worked our themes or we hit certain topics or in that kind of thing. But what I do see for our future is definitely getting some more money. Some funding because none of us get paid for this work. It's all labor of love, but we got to move beyond the whole labor of love thing, even though I think that's a beautiful thing and that should be an essence of it. But we need to learn to embrace abundance and learn the energy of give and take, so that's that kind of universal flow that comes. And we teach that to our communities who are suffering from economics, because we're always saying we're in a struggle. Can I say the F word here? Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck being in a struggle, Nah, we got to change that energy, that mentality to say, no, we deserve this because we're giving this. Now it's time for the universe to give back, and we need to embrace that and be able to accept that as organizers too and as leaders, right? And that being said, okay, that's my disclaimer. For the future of us is learning to accept that and getting that money and those funds that we deserve, so that we could even serve more of our communities and expand it more. And so there's other chapters we're opening for other people to open up their chapters wherever they want, across the country, across the nation, across the world. We don't care. And so that this circle and this it keeps growing, at least. I mean, we don't have the answers. We're just learning, and so that's how I see in the future. And I see not only like us growing economically, but also growing as becoming older women and passing on, how she said, passing on that information to the younger ones, big sister, little sister, and bring each other up instead of bring each other down.
No, it's very true. It's at times it seems that look at my shirt, a woman's place in the struggle. It seems like sometimes we're I went to the radical women's meeting, and they were like, it seems like we're obsessed with the struggle, and I think that's why I promote the arts so much, because I feel that, we need to see the beauty in life. Life is beautiful, and art is beautiful, literature is beautiful, all these things are beautiful, and we need to showcase that. And then the struggle is it's something that it can happen, it's a constant thing, but that's not it. People aren't going to want to continue to struggle if there's nothing beautiful at the end of that struggle. You have to kind of remember and remind yourself of that. And I think that's something that you guys really are really effective, really great about, and the organization, and just by your support and your energy and all that. And I know that you guys have both been in the community you guys both have been doing work for a very long time. It's like we were on Facebook friends with you. But it's so strange, and it's good that we're all kind of getting together and being supportive of each other. And are there any final thoughts that either of you two would like to leave our listeners, our viewers with?
Well, come and check out our event, the 18th annual Mujeres de Maiz live art show. We're going to have a lot of events coming up as well. They're going to be expanding into April and May, and hopefully we'll have a summer program and a fall program as well. So come and check us out at our website, which is www.mujeresdemaiz.com, and you could find out more about us. Okay.
And final thoughts. Yes, everyone's welcome. It's intertribal, intergenerational. It's inclusive, not exclusive. Men are welcome to come to the live show. It's not just for women. And I think that feminizing manhood is also very important too. We need to take it to the next level of evolution within our own movement, women's movement. And remember our old traditional ways. Our ancestors left something for us, and we forgot our ways because we want instant gratification. And the only way we're going to do is through our old ways of oral tradition, and honoring each other as man and woman, and bringing that balance back. I think it's very important to talk about that, even though it is a woman's space. Honoring woman and honoring yourself is every day. Because man and woman come out of a womb. And if we remember that's our collective memory, and that's very important and essential in our survival as people of color. So Mujeres de Maiz represents just that. And so we have holistic workshops on birthing, we have poetry, we are going to have we have actual workshops, we have a full moon circle, and we have a live art show, we have an art exhibit, and so many more workshops here going up to the end of May. So please log on to mujeresdemaiz.com. Is it .com or .net? I think we had changed it, but it goes to .com. We still have .net anyway. So mujeresdemaiz.com, and check it out. We have full schedule programming. Some of them is free, some of them is donation. No one will be turned away because of lack of funds. And I'd like to thank you for inviting us to your show. It's really awesome. And I'm going to be at Black Girl Book Fair.
All right. Thank you so much.
Most definitely. And we also have poetry night. So if people are they love to express themselves, or we're also always welcoming.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us, and that will be it for the Black Girl Show for February 28th. I still can't remember the date. So join us every Saturday, every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time on LA Talk Live. This is Tika Lark Fleming signing off. Sweet to the core, that's right, I got a rhythm. My great-grandma didn't like a foxtrot. Now instead she spit, it's nothing boogie dram or dram. Spit on. They say I'm different 'cause I eat chitlins. I can't help it, I was born and raised on them. That's right, every morning have to stop the hogs and maybe getting off, humping the Johnny Hooker. Get it on. They say I'm different 'cause I'm a piece of sugar cane. And when I kick my legs, I got rhythm. My great-grandpa was a blues lover. He be rocking his moves.
moonshine. The baby King and Jimmy Ray, rock on now. They say I'm different.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.